So that is essentially what you're calling research.
Exactly.
That's my research. So if I type it into Google, all this different information is going to come up. So are there any trusted sources that you take a look at? Because I see Motley Fool, I see Yahoo Finance, I see Google.
Yeah.
What should I trust? What's a trusted source?
So I'm glad you're saying that because there's so much information out there, right? And you can't trust everything that's put out on the internet, right? Mm-hmm. So what I like to use is I like to use Yahoo Finance.
Okay.
I like to use Morningstar, Google, which is also awesome. And then also a good place to start is going back again to that company's website because they'll talk about research and development. They'll talk about profits. They'll talk about losses. So Yahoo Finance, Morningstar, CNBC, there's so many out there, but again, I would start with at least those three. You don't want to overburden yourself.
And in lamest terms, I'm not going to force you into the three words again. You killed it the first time, with the three words. But in lamest terms, because I get this question all the time, what would you tell the people research equals? In lamest terms, if you had just a couple things to select to take a look at.
I would say research equals education.
Okay.
Without research, you're not going to have a baseline of making a decision, right? You're just going to be going into the fray unequipped, right? The more research you have on a particular investment, the better equipped you are with making that decision. And it takes the emotion out of it.
Absolutely.
Because you're not guessing, you're not gambling, right? You know, people say, well, investing in stocks is gambling. No, it isn't. Going to Vegas, going to Atlantic City and betting on something, that's gambling.
Absolutely.
Right? Research equals knowledge, equals education. The more research you have to support your cause, your goal, your claim, the better off you're going to be because now it's founded, right? You can go now. The one thing I will say, past performance doesn't predict future performance.
Absolutely.
But that past performance does help give you an indication of what that company has been doing and where they're looking to grow.
Absolutely.
Right? So the more knowledge you have behind research, the better off you're going to be.
So let me ask you this because I'm biased.
Yeah.
And I'm biased because I'm a long-term investor.
Yes.
I believe in buying, compound, holding, splits, and getting the bag over long periods of time, no matter what that long period of time is for you.
Yeah.
And one of the things I say, one of my golden rules is I buy what I use, and I also do a gut check for my morality. I try my best not to invest in any companies that have anything to do with tobacco because my father died of lung cancer.
Sure.
So I juxtapose those rules for myself, and that's how I buy. But nowadays you hear, which I'm not knocking at all whatsoever, you got crypto, you got NFTs, you got real fast money, and options has become extremely popular. I'm not dogging or knocking any of that by any stretch of the imagination because there's multiple vehicles to get to the bag.
Exactly.
But just talk to me about the differences and your thoughts on long-term investing versus all these other options. You don't have to go into in depth about crypto versus or Forex versus long-term investing, but compounding versus these other forms.
Yeah. So when I look at compounding, right? Compounding has to do with time. You know what I'm saying? You're really going to reap the benefit of compounding the longer you stay within an investment. I think there's so much information out there. We're in a new modern age, digital age, information age. Everyone has access now. Yeah. Right? There's access to all different types of investments. But every investment isn't right for everyone.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And again,
what you eat don't make me poop.
Exactly, right? So, if you're not doing a research on crypto or NFT and you're jumping in blindly, well, guess what? You're going to lose money.
Absolutely.
Right? We've seen it happen with AMC. We've seen it happen with GameStop, right? Those quick shots to the moon and then a crash, right? People lost their life savings. People killed themselves because they put all their money in particularly one basket.
Which also hurt the stock game because now any investors that decided to jump into it based off those situations specifically, they then said, well, the stock game sucks.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But go ahead.
Exactly. So, because of that one decision, now you say, well, the stock market isn't for me. What I say, and again, I'm going to be 100% transparent.
Yeah.
I'm a long-term investor, and that comes because I worked at Vanguard.
No doubt.
Right? So when people say you drink the Kool-Aid, I drank the Kool-Aid, but I was also drinking the Kool-Aid from one of the most successful investors ever.
It was proven.
It was proven.
You've seen it.
I've seen it. I've seen it in my clients' accounts.
Yep.
I've seen it with, people that I knew. So I said, you know what? Let me try this, right? Let me invest in companies that I know. Now, I'm going to say this again, too. When people are trying to make a way where everyone's trying to get money fast, and that's where people go wrong.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Trying to get money fast is a losing strategy. A solid game plan of investing in companies that you know. You hit on a point in regards to morality, right? There are investments out there that don't invest in tobacco, that don't invest in prison systems, right? So you really have to take a deep look within yourself and say, what investments are going to fit my morals, my values, my time horizon, my financial goals? Everything is not for everybody. So if you want to invest in all tech, I would advise that you don't, because again, that industry, if it tanks, you assed out. So you really got to have an understanding of there are different industries, and all those industries we use on a daily basis.
So don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If you want overall success in the stock market, do not put all your eggs in one basket.
No doubt. And I'm honestly, which Justin, he pokes me and gets on me all the time, hit me in the gut. I'm a single stock exposure kind of dude. But how I spread it without having all my eggs in one basket, even though I go single stock exposure, I go many different types of stocks. I'll have Amazon, or then I'll go into Corning, or then I'll go into Facebook. So I mix mine up. But we also want to get deep and get into this, just like, let's keep it a stack. There's a large spectrum when you start talking about income. There's individuals who, you know what I mean? They out here struggling. There's folks out here struggling, and we understand that. And then there's individuals who, they just got it. They can pull 30, 40, 50, 60, 100K and drop it on some stock.
Exactly.
One thing that I talk about is paying yourself first.
Exactly.
So I'm just interested in hearing your commentary for someone. If I pull $5, $10, $15, $20 out of my stock, that might be out of my groceries. That might be out of my rent. That might be out of something. So talk to me about how do we work that? So what is your advice for those individuals?
Yeah, see, this is a hard one because, every individual circumstance is different, right? So I don't know John's circumstance compared to Mary's circumstance, right? So, but paying yourself first, right? We look at our expenses, our cash flow, and we say, I got to pay bills. I got to pay rent. By the time you do all those things, there's nothing left over for you, right? There's nothing left over for your children.
That's right.
In terms of investments. So what I would say to that is, really take a deep look into what you're bringing in versus what's going out.
No doubt.
And find ways where you can make reductions or cuts.
No doubt.
Right? Do you really need, and people say, well, I want to live life, but when you count up all the subscription services that you have, right? When you count up, now I know inflation is high, right? We're at, 7% inflation, right? But do you need to be eating steak?
No doubt.
Every single week.
Or the kind of steak. You ain't got to eat filet mignon,
right?
There's a center cut.
Yes, exactly. But also like Uber Eats, right? You know how they tax you $20 for a delivery fee.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? So there's things we can do to find money elsewhere. Treat yourself as an expense. And what I mean by that
treat yourself as an expense.
Exactly. We think about paying our expenses first, right? That's how we kind of grew up. Because we got to keep food on the table. That's an expense. You got to keep a roof over your head. That's an expense. You got to keep clothes on your back. That's an expense. But no one's saying, you know what? I need to pay myself first to make sure that I'm good. Even if I don't end up being a multi-millionaire, what I'm doing is I'm giving myself the opportunity to build wealth, but also being able to not only transfer it to my children, but to lead by example so that they can see the power of investing and the power of wealth building.
Very good point. And I'm going to keep it a stack and not obviously name any names, but folks call me and they say, Mari, I want to invest, but it's going to cost X amount of dollars. But it's the same folks I see in the club. It's the same folks that I see with the new designer belt, bag, hat, etc. If you really want to do this, even if it's the long game, don't buy that Gucci belt. Buy a Kenneth Cole belt.
You can do it.
Buy a Perry Ellis belt. You don't have to do it.